I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
The world is figuring out where true innovation, where true value is. I mean, if I'm being honest with you guys, crypto is worth zero. It's just not realized as that yet, which takes time. This is a new industry. It's a new technology. But I think everyone's waking up to the fact that the only thing that delivered a technical innovation and made conscious ground forward for humanity as far as money as a technology is Bitcoin. And regulators are realizing that, speculators are realizing that, hedge funds are realizing that, businesses are realizing that. And so, I don't know, that's what that means. The number still seems a bit off because it's not 100% Bitcoin, but I think the world could take its time. It's okay.
I don't know, Jack. Many would say smart contracts was a significant development. Many people would like ETH, even if perhaps some of the smaller altcoins at the moment are under some concerns around overall regulatory impact. I'm interested though, Jack, like many would say, look, where is the real use case at the moment for many of these altcoins and other areas of crypto? Your use case of Bitcoin largely, is it remittance? And how much are we seeing that being adopted by the emerging markets where many do see rampant inflation? That's really what the calling of Bitcoin has been.
Is Sam Bankman-Fried back in federal district court in Manhattan today, the morning after prosecutors agreed to withdraw 5 of the 13 charges against him, including bribery, at least for now. In a court filing from yesterday, federal prosecutors said they would proceed to a trial in October without pursuing the accusations that the government added to SBF's indictment in the months after he was extradited from the Bahamas. The withdrawal of those 5 counts was a victory for the FTX founder, who had argued that prosecutors should not have been allowed to charge him with additional crimes after his extradition. But there's a caveat. Prosecutors asked the judge overseeing the case to schedule a second trial early next year on those 5 counts.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we have Jack Mallers playing the Hegelian dialectic with the Bitcoin maxi talk. Says crypto is worth zero. Now guys, we know there's a lot of cryptos that are worth zero. But we also know the utility of a lot of these cryptos. Ethereum, XRP, XLM, Chainlink, just to name a few. Now we have the Bankman movie continuing. The U.S. dropping charges. And remember guys, the SEC still hasn't brought charges against the Bankman. And we have the mainstream media showing you how big banks and big corporations are heavily invested in China. Now we have Bill Gates going to China with a check in his hand. Don't forget, guys, when the drums beat, the big corporations and big banks fund both sides. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And guys, in real estate, remember, you own nothing, but you will be happy. And we're starting to see that motion go into effect. We have housing prices still ridiculous, unaffordable for someone making the average income, but we don't see a lot of homes for sale because we know the people are staying put because of the high interest rates. And we know the Fed is the cause of the squeeze. Remember, all the chaos that we see going across the globe, you can point back to the central banks. But guys, as we see unemployment rise, you're going to see foreclosures rise. And a lot of the homes owned right now are owned by investment companies. You have bots buying up homes. And when it comes to residential homes, a family should have priority on buying that home instead of the investment banker. But guys, if you know anything about real estate, we see what's going on. These companies own thousands and thousands and thousands of homes, and they're renting these homes out. And what's going on with rent, guys? Rent is sky high, which again should be illegal. But who caused it? That's right, the Fed. The Fed caused the squeeze. And guys, remember, as of 2023, the average home in the U.S. is over $400,000. And by 2026, guys, I see that being cut in half. Remember, we're going to be going through hyper-deflation. And you're going to start seeing the government using automation to build affordable homes. And guys, I've done plenty of videos on the rise of machines and real estate. And how do we know the crash is coming? Even though we see the manipulation in the markets, the yield curve and numbers don't lie. After the crash, then we're going to run into hyperdeflation. And what's going to bring the hyperdeflation? That's right, the machines. The robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Bill Gates is the latest high-profile Western businessman to visit China. Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon, Tim Cook, and a litany of American executives have visited the country in recent months, trying to recalibrate relations with U.S. business. For more, we want to bring in Jim McGregor. He is APCO Worldwide's Greater China chairman. And Jim, other businessmen have been going there in recent months, but this is the first person from the United States, from a business background, who's met with President Xi. What does that tell you, especially some of the commentary that she made afterwards?
Well, it shows that they are trying to have a bridge with the American people because things are so off kilter with the governments. Look, Gates went there on global health with the Gates Foundation, and they talked about global health. He was involved in making a donation to a drug discovery center. I mean, that's a good thing if we're connected on global health. Remember, we just had a pandemic where we would have been nice to have better communications. Not that China was very cooperative at that time, but
Pretium Partners, Don Mullen, they own more than 100,000 homes around America and can buy a home in less than an hour. We met in Milken. Thanks for schlepping out here to New Jersey, Don. We appreciate it. When you sat down, you go, that 40% number is wrong that we just cited. How come?
So the key part of that number is it's a large part being made up by home builders like Lennar. So when we talked about how terrific job they've done at Lennar, you really have to focus on the fact they're selling into a market where almost 70% of the market, or I should say, owner-occupied homes for sale is down 70%.
So like me selling my home is
the
down
average
70%.
Yes, home prices are up, but the Fed has effectively destroyed more supply than it did demand.
How?
Because the average homeowner now has a mortgage rate that's below 4%.
Like 90% or below
75%,
like
yeah, 90% below 5, 75% below 4. So as a result, the average homeowner is still a pretty sophisticated person. They understand they can't replace that liability stream. And so as a result, it makes much more sense for them to stay in their home than to upgrade. You buy the same home today at today's mortgage rates, and your cost of money is double.
Well,
so you can't upgrade
because
anymore.
people buy home. Not you, but I think me, when I was buying a home, you buy it on the monthly payment. How much can I afford? And then you look at the interest rates and all the taxes and kind of do the math there. I think people have been waiting for prices to come down, and in many parts, they've remained stubbornly high.
Yeah, we've had small declines throughout the country, but we have a structural imbalance. We had this conversation at our conference, not Milken, but our investor conference back almost a year ago. And Larry Summers and I had a very big debate are we in a situation with housing inflation or a structural imbalance? We believe that we've been in a structural imbalance relative to the size of the population for many years now, and it's not going to get any better.
But why not? If there's too much demand, there should be more supply. You want to make money, right? Hey, start a home builder.
Well, home builders have some of the best margins they've had in a decade, and you would expect them to continue to see that as we're in a position that the labor force loosens up, home prices remain relatively stable, and demand is demographically driven, not just interest rate driven. Household formations remain persistently high, and there's a lot of Americans in the millennial generation and Gen Z. We know they're bigger than the baby boomers.
You just bought how many homes from D.R. Horton? It's public.
Almost 4,000.
So you bought at one time?
Yes.
You bought about 4,000
but I think what's
new
important about-
homes at one time.
There were many owner-occupied, but I think what's important about that is right now, one of the things that people in our industry can really be useful and helpful to the economy as a whole is by providing more capital to home builders so they reduce the risk of their downside, because when interest rate volatility is up, their sales do go down. So as a result, by providing more capital to housing stock, more capital towards the rental market, we provide more housing to people who are desperately in need today. And so it's not just the average American. The housing problem we have is actually for people in lower incomes.
Yeah.
So right now, there's, in Atlanta as an example, almost 15,000 vouchers that don't have a home, meaning people getting Section 8 vouchers can't find a house to move into. So that our poor people in this country can't access housing.
So, because when we met, and I learned about your business, I said, Don, you're crushing housing. You're the problem, and you're like, no. And you made a case.
Fraction.
You also said, we buy homes and rent them out. Otherwise, people aren't going to find homes to rent that they can later on maybe buy.
Sure. And many people are living in aspirational communities they could never afford to buy the house in, even before this move in interest rates. But we believe today, one of the ways that we can access more housing and putting more capital behind affordable housing, helping home builders build that, turning a lot of housing stock into accessible for people who have vouchers. But we darn need help from the government to be in a position to simplify the process.
What would you do?
Right now, the standards vary dramatically by county, and there's no scalability in the system. And when you talk about the speed we could execute and build housing stock, what we need is a simplified system that allows us to have a single standard to get people into housing stock.
Yield curve has been front and center in the news for the better part of a year now, as the inversion between the 2- and 10-year treasuries recently reached its widest level since the early 80s. In normal economic times, bonds with longer durations generally have higher yields than bonds with shorter durations. But when shorter-dated bonds yield higher rates than longer-dated ones, this typically precedes trouble in the economy and has been a very strong indicator of an upcoming recession.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.